Papa?
Ready.
An open letter to Latino Trump supporters. I understand that the anti-Trump rhetoric coming from the left can be brutal at times, and you may find yourself in a lonely place. But you can find solace in knowing that you've joined the ranks of a long list of individuals throughout history that have chosen to align themselves with a leader that will contribute to their own demise and also be despised and ridiculed by the majority of their own communities. For an example, there were those black Africans who facilitated the transatlantic slave trade by helping European slave traders capture their fellow Africans. There were those Jews who collaborated with the Nazis in and out of concentration camps. Then there were the Irish Catholics in Northern Ireland who collaborated with the British. Gotta mention those. And did I mention the African American slaves who whipped and tortured their fellow slaves to appease their master? So it's not surprising that there's a growing number of Puerto Ricans who, despite Trump saying that he won't bail out Puerto Rico from a debt crisis caused by almost a century of bribes and theft, support him. It doesn't matter if somehow, unlike the rest of the U.S., Puerto Rico is ineligible for bankruptcy protection. Has it occurred to you that an economic collapse in Puerto Rico might spell the end of our culture the way we know it? That the only remnant of it may be in the form of entertainment for tourists when the organ grinder plays its tune, you know, like in Hawaii. You also joined the ranks of the Boricuas who knew about the sterilization program and stood idly by while it was happening because somehow you were under the impression that you were above those oppressed. Then, of course, there's the infamous wall Trump's proposing to build on our border with Mexico, whose real purpose is to curtail the import of brown people who usually produce liberal voters. I guess it's okay to exploit them as long as they don't fucking make kids. Notice there's not a mention of a wall being built on a northern border to prevent those illegal Canadians from stealing those coveted lumberjack jobs. If you're Mexican and you support Trump, you're probably one of those who continually brags that you can trace your family to Spain. Although you look like you just emerged from an Amazon jungle with a fucking spear and a bone through your nose. I have a Dominican friend who supports Trump, who coincidentally also supports the mass deportation of Haitians. So, you know, why am I not fucking surprised? One thing is certain, and that's if Trump becomes the leader of the free world, he'll cut unemployment, not by creating jobs, but by starting a war that will kill a substantial amount of those seeking employment. I mean, he did say he was going to bomb and destroy the oil fields in the Middle East and have Exxon rebuild them. Can we expect the Irish to stand idly by while this happens? I guess he read somewhere that World War II lifted us out of the Great Depression. The big difference being that was a just war. The next one will solely be on the basis of greed. Remember that shit when the flag-draped coffins start coming home. Trump actually said that he wants to incorporate the ideas of Roosevelt. That's Teddy, not Franklin. There's a big difference between the big stick policy and the New Deal.
Right there in front of the museum.
If you don't know what that means, well, you didn't pay attention in fucking history class.
Back to CUNY.
And which is also one of the reasons you're a Trump supporter. Finally, if you support Trump, you probably think climate change is a myth, regardless of some of the most prominent scientists have provided scientific proof that we're poisoning the planet. I guess denial isn't only a river in Egypt. I can never understand why Fidel called people like you gusanos, which means worm in Spanish.
Motherfuckers.
But I might understand now. But I prefer the more traditional term of house Negro. Thank you.
Uncle Tom, Chio Tomas. Fuck out of here. Negro being Spanish.
That's right.
Hashtag